It's always a bit of a crapshoot, but we're going to go through the top contenders for the Heisman based on the betting odds. Let's start with Jake Fromm, of course, the quarterback from Georgia. 24 touchdowns, 7 picks a year ago. What's the case for him?
Yeah, well, we know one thing about the Heisman. It's usually going to go to a player on a team that's pretty successful or competing for a championship. So one thing you know about Georgia, the way Kirby Smart has them rolling, is that they're probably going to be in the mix for a championship. And another thing with Jake is he's so steady and consistent. You know, he didn't make a lot of mistakes last year. I think 24 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. So that's kind of a big deal when you look at the Heisman, is how many mistakes are being made by these, especially a quarterback. And that's something he doesn't do often. Now,
when you're talking Heisman, you're talking a lot of quarterbacks. The next guy up is Khalil Tate, quarterback out of Arizona. Basically a highlight reel, right?
Yeah, he's kind of and he's in a way, he's the opposite of the guy we just talked about, right? I mean, Khalil's more dual threat, and he's a little more risk reward, I guess. You know, he's going to pop these huge plays for you, but he might make a mistake every now and then, throw a pick. He's gonna chunk some downfield. His ability on the ground to move the pocket is really incredible. When you match him up with Kevin Sumlin and what he did at Texas A&M with Johnny Manziel, you could see that there's potential there for a really big year and some really big stuff for Khalil.
Let's move away from quarterbacks and get to a running back. We got Jonathan Taylor, the running back out of Wisconsin. Wisconsin has churned out some pretty good backs in the past, almost 2,000 yards a year ago.
Yeah, it's incredible when you look at all the Wisconsin running backs, their former running backs. So it seems like every year a Wisconsin running back is like in the mix for the Heisman or up there, you know, close to breaking 2,000 yards. I mean, Jonathan's so young, freshman last year, All-American freshman team. I believe he set the FBS record for freshman yards. So it's setting up for him to have this kind of breakout sophomore year. And again, a player at Wisconsin, and they're going to run the football, so you know that he's going to get his yards.
Now let's get to another quarterback, a guy a lot of people were introduced to at the very end of the last college football season. Of course, that's Alabama quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. How do you think he's going to do this season?
Right, yeah. I got back from a trip from Tuscaloosa recently, and that's the talk of the town. You know, Tua this and Tua that. Everybody wants to talk about Tua. And we just saw really 2 quarters of him, but he's already this, Heisman candidate, Heisman favorite even at some places, I think. His ability on the ground and through the air. I was talking to a former SEC defensive coordinator who was telling me stories about at 16 was, picking apart high school defenses, and I think we're going to see more of that in college level.
Yeah, I don't have any of that inside information, but he looked pretty good to me. One more running back. We've got Bryce Love, of course, out of Stanford. Already has gone for over 2,000 yards, and some of those backs have had some success as of late, of course.
Yeah, it's kind of like Wisconsin. You always feel like the Stanford running back is in the mix for some kind of year-end award, because he's going to get his yards. They run the ball so much. They have that more pro-style offense, and he could have probably left for the NFL, obviously, and he decided to come back. And with coming back, I think you're just kind of that household name, maybe that even Jonathan isn't yet. Bryce is.
Now, how about a dark horse? Do you have somebody that we're not mentioning that might win the Heisman?
Yeah, Auburn quarterback Jarrett Stidham is somebody that I kind of keep an eye on. He's a guy that I got to speak with a little bit at SEC Media Days. He's got kind of an incredible life story, but on the field, he's a guy who's shown pretty good accuracy and got a pretty good arm, and very knowledgeable about the game, works really hard. You talk to Gus Malzahn and their coaches, and I mean, this kid just lives in the film room. So again, we talked to open the segment about the Heisman Trophy winner's got to be somebody a part of a successful team at the end of the season. And I think Auburn could kind of be in that mix.